Hey, welcome to my apartment. Apartment 5H. We in the building. My primo. Great Rizzy in the building.
Hanging out.
We got. Do they call that the boot? The boot area?
Yeah.
The boot.
Louisiana's the boot.
Louisiana is the boot.
Yes, sir.
Nolans.
Yeah.
How you got
Nolans? Yeah, all of that.
First of all,
Nola.
right? Nola, right?
Yeah.
First of all, what is the infatuation, and I'm saying it right, with baby? Well, like every time I meet a chick, baby. Like, you know.
Chicks love it when I say baby, so I say baby. They go crazy. Okay. Next thing you know, they want to have my baby.
No, because every time you're like, hey, baby, what's up, baby? What happening, baby?
I think we own baby, you know what I'm saying?
Right?
Yeah. New Orleans dudes own that, you know.
Where did that start? How did that even start?
That's been like this thing, like, you know, when you travel and somebody starts saying it. Like, so whenever you went to somewhere else, like say we went to Baton Rouge or maybe a little bit further, Texas and Atlanta.
Okay.
You know, and somebody would always say, I love the way y'all say baby. So that became like, that's like your last line of getting some, you know, some ass or something. Like you can't say nothing else. You're like, look, what's happening, babe?
What's happening, babe?
I'm assuming, like, you know, hearing ladies say, I like how you say baby, that's like the battery in the back. Like, yeah, that's it.
That's like,
that.
all right, I got her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I gotta keep on saying that. That's my go-to right there.
Yeah.
That might be, I guess we got the equal for New Yorkers. Like, you're like, yo, say what's up, son?
Yeah.
What else with New Yorkers?
Yeah, definitely. Man. Like, that was like, y'all, you know, folks would be like, man, when New Yorkers say son, you know what I'm saying?
You cannot not say
that,
man. When you born, you gotta say
y'all own that shit. Word is born. They just like, you know, I'm like, he's from New York.
Has there ever been a heavy presence of New York in Louisiana?
Yeah, you know, I mean, bro, believe it or not, like in our neighborhood, just the locks, like them motherfuckers, they well received.
Yeah?
Yeah, like, you know, because everybody know them. Like, you know what I'm saying, from being in New Orleans. Like, just uptown, downtown, they got a big presence. Like, you know, it's been bounce songs and all kind of shit that's remakes of the locks. You know what I'm saying?
See,
because like, yeah, like they are like, you know what I'm saying? Especially Jada. Like everybody know Jada in New Orleans. Like, you know, so, and you know, and they just love the way he talk, his New York accent, his cockiness, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's funny, man, when you talk about New York, and I'm assuming everybody in NO, they thinking like New York City and he from Yonkers. But it's such a strong accent, they attach it automatically.
Well, but listen, if you from up here, to us down south, you from New York. It's all the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna say Queens, Brooklyn, none of that. We like, he from New York.
He from New York.
What's the biggest difference between, I would say, New Orleans, Shreveport, Baton Rouge? Because just how you're saying they from New York, you would say the same thing. Actually,
I think it would be like every other, what is it called, boroughs? Like how y'all say, like, you
boroughs,
know? So it would be like that. It's different cultures. They move different. Baton Rouge is maybe 40 minutes away from New Orleans, but the things that they do and the way they say things is completely different from the way New Orleans do things. So you would know a Baton Rouge dude from a New Orleans dude just by, you know, the way they dress, the way they talk, you know, some of the things they do.
Can you give us an example? Like, help us New Yorkers out.
I mean, you take Boosie and Webby, you know what I'm saying? I think Boosie and them got a super Southern twang.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of their words is, you just like, what the fuck he said? Like, you know what I'm saying? Opposed to New Orleans dudes, it's a little bit more understanding. But, you know, Baton Rouge is a different way of rocking. Like, and I would say like Woody, Round, that's like friends. Baton Rouge don't use those words. Like if we say like, oh, that's my Woody, you know, or we say that's my Round. Downtown dudes would say that's my Shaggy. You know what I'm saying? That's exclusively New Orleans. And it's something that's 15 minutes away from us. And they don't say that.
But it's exclusive to those areas.
Yeah.
But that's like with us, man. Like you could tell an uptown cat from a Brooklyn cat easily.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, we used to be known for like blowouts and colorful leathers, and these guys would be known for fatigues and army.
Exactly.
Army suits and boots and all that.
Yeah, Bronx cats would be like, yo, what's up, Mo?
The thing too is, you know, you
Brooklyn cats don't say Mo.
Baton Rouge dudes, they like old school cars. You know what I'm saying? New Orleans dudes don't really care for old school cars. I do, but they don't. You know what I'm saying? They don't care for you know, if you go to Baton Rouge somewhere, Lafayette, like you saying Shreveport, them dudes will put I mean, you know, fucking $20,000-$30,000 into some old school shit. And we'd be like, man, get that shit out of here. I'm just gonna buy me a new car. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's a different way of moving.
Well, look, I want to say thank you to you because you were part of a group that were literally like tour guides for all of us.
For sure.
For 30 years, you know what I'm saying? Like, for me, going down south was the Carolinas, North Carolina, South Carolina for a long time. Then I started venturing out, traveling a little bit more.
Yeah.
But can you talk to us a little bit about just like you guys coming out as Cash Money and then showing the world that microscope got so hot on everything that y'all were doing?
Well, one of the craziest things was I remember when the video, you know, came out and coming to New York, right? And it was a lot of people was like, well, where did y'all get the props and how did y'all do that? Like, you know, and we was like, nah, that's really our neighborhood. That's the neighborhood. And a lot of people was just like, no fucking way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because the way we grew up, and a lot of people in hip hop, when you surrounded with love and, you know, and your block hug you, you don't know it's poverty. You don't know that shit because you're paying attention to trying to stay alive every day. And we didn't really know that New Orleans as a whole, like, was below poverty. We just was like, fuck, we just representing our block. And I think a lot of it was shock value to people to be like, holy shit, this shit is crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? They got a dog in here, they feeding bologna in this goddamn you know, and when now that we older and we look at it, we like, God damn, this shit was strange. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of it was a wake-up call for a lot of people. Because when we came along, we didn't know that it was this movement that black people were like, oh, we're doing better. We're doing better. You know what I'm saying? So that was like, holy shit. Like, it brought a lot of people back to, damn, you know, it would be like Harlem being tore up. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, Harlem was a beautiful place, and then it went through this fucking drug war or whatever, and and then it got back to that. Yeah. And you have shit in history that remind you of that. And I think what Cash Money did reminded you of the struggle of like, wait, this is a group of dudes, like, you know what I'm saying, that they don't even know they in the midst of some crazy ass shit. They just striving to do better. And you know, and everybody was like, shit, we rooting for y'all.
Yeah. Well, I'll also say for y'all, I don't know how much y'all were responsible for PT Cruiser sales.
Yeah.
That shit was crazy.
Yeah, all of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all were doing stuff to cars, bringing cars out, and I saw all kinds of people running around trying to get cars because of these videos that you guys were shooting.
But see, like in the beginning, that was the plan. The plan was, it's kind of like this concept of there's more Honda Civics than Bentleys. You catch more people by making it affordable to people. You know, and that was the plan, and it just got bigger and bigger, and it kind of got out of control, you know. But our thing was, I was like, long as we stick to the cars that people can afford, and they'll feel like they're a part of you. They'll feel like, well, shit, I could get one of them. I could do my thing to it. You know, if you remember, for the longest, it was like Chrysler 300s, PT Cruisers, Magnum, you know, that station wagon or whatever. But I was like, dude, it's more people that can afford this and obtain this than going for the Bentley shit and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And it just started changing into that. Like when I tell people the Cash Money story is the gift and the curse, because we didn't set out to make rap turn into like some bling bling shit. That was our thing. And when we started this, it was categories. You had Slick Rick the storyteller. You know, you had Public Enemy, your pro-black, you know what I'm saying? You had NWA, who was the gangster rap or whatever. You know, you had Tribe Called Quest or whatever they was doing. Big Daddy Kane, the lyricist. So we was like, well, where do we fit in? I'm like, we gonna do this flamboyant thing. So we felt like it was a category. But then rap started changing into everybody wanna be rich. You know what I'm saying?
Do you guys take credit for the baby Bentley term? Now that you bring that, I just remember that too, because everybody's trying to get 300s too.
Yeah. Because we was just like, hey, long as we stay here, you know what I'm saying? But you take
relatability.
Yeah, you know, but shit, everybody saw the birth of Baby. Stunner, Birdman, you know, he went crazy with the shit. He was just like, oh no, I'm about to give y'all Lambos. I'm about to give y'all motherfuckers all the shit I never had.
Is there any truth to where they saying or what they saying? I know Turk was saying that in the beginning it was no Rolexes, it was Geneva watches.
It was, because that's what was popping.
Okay, Geneva watches, okay.
Yeah, there wasn't no Rolexes
so
in
that's
the beginning.
truth.
Yeah,
okay.
It was fucking...
in the songs.
Yeah,
okay, Geneva
we
watches,
even say this shit in the earlier songs. Primeco phones, and like that was a cheap ass phone, but that was what was popping in the hood.
Uh-huh.
If you had one of them, you know you was on. There wasn't no Rolexes, but you know as shit get better, people start going, well, fuck that. Let's get to the let's get to the
Okay.
But everybody in New Orleans wanted a Geneva watch. You know what I'm saying? Because the power of hip hop. You got to think about when two-way pages, anybody who, I don't even know who said the two-way pager was the hot shit, but when rap got to it, everybody had a two-way pager.
And there was levels to it, remember?
Yeah,
Like the black
hell
one, but
yeah.
when that silver one came out.
The silver one came out that you could write the songs on and shit, and do the little corny ass beats on. Yeah.
You know, sometimes I wonder, because you're living your life in real time.
Yeah.
Was there ever any pressure, or did you foresee any pressure or feel any pressure, I should say, with creating a sound? Because you were really responsible for that Cash Money sound.
No, because I think I loved music so much, I wasn't paying attention to that. You know how some people are like, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make you pay attention to me, and I want to be famous. I just was in love with what I was doing, you know, and I was in love with moving the needle to say like, oh shit, people are paying attention in a good way. They actually see that I actually have a talent, that I can do this, and it makes people respond to it. You know, because before I was making records in the 80s before Cash Money, you know, but it wasn't a platform where I could get them out there. But in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, fucking all the way to Houston, people knew me from DJing, you know, but I was like, well, how do I crack this shit? You know what I'm saying? And then come bounce music, you know, and it was just like, well, it's this shit that Mannie Fresh doing in New Orleans, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's catching on. And my first introduction to Cash Money, you know, I was just like, hey, bro, I got something that I want to do, but because they had a rapper, they had this dude named Kilo G, and I was just like, no disrespect, but I'm like, the production and all that shit is horrible on that. And I'm like, and I got this new shit that I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, it's bounce music. And you know, and it was like, well, why is it bounce music? I'm like, cause shit make you fucking
bounce.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, and it's from the streets. So my first 2 or 3 songs I did with them was bounce. And for maybe 10 years before anybody even heard of Cash Money, it was a bounce label. It was all bounce songs. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that shit paid the bills. And when, to me, everybody started doing it, I got tired of bounce. I was like, well, you know what? I don't really want to do this shit no more. And I'm like, in order for this label to go on to something else, we got to turn into rap. You know, we got to really turn into rap. Then my beats kind of changed to rap. You know, so I was like, okay, let me try my hand at that. But do you think your beats catered more to East Coast or West Coast? A little bit of everything, because we grew up as DJs in New Orleans listening to everything. See me, and we had this. I had a conversation with somebody. I was very into Southern music early in my DJ career, whereas I felt like a lot of your beats was like more West Coast, like, you know, like NWA influence. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Like, because we in New York, we never use 808s like that. You understand? So like I remember even the first BGs and the first Big Tymers songs, a lot of those, you know, it had like pimpish type. Am I saying it correct? They had that kind of on top, but one of my favorite producers was Mantronics. Okay. You know, and he's from here. And if you listen to a lot of my caters and my triples and all of that shit, I got that shit from Mantronics. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But Mantronics was underrated. You know, he to me, he sounded like a Southern producer from New York. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like, because he was doing shit with 808s that New York wasn't ready to hear. Like, you know, he was the first dude that tuned the 808 and made it make notes. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that shit wasn't, you know, like, New York is just like, nah, this is the hip hop mecca. Like, we want boom bap. You know, and some of his shit, it had 808 snares that was tuned way up. He had triplet hi-hats and shit. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, I don't know who this dude is, but he was big down south. And you know, and you got to think of the key elements of what bounce music is. One of them is this group, the Showboys, that's from New York. And the name of the song was called Drag Rap.
Drag Rap.
Yeah, but it had
that's
this
on Profile, right?
It was on Profile,
Okay.
but it had this 808 break to it that everybody fucking down south loved, just the 808 break part of it. The other shit was like Lin drums. It was hard as fuck, and then it just broke into this 808. And you know, and as a DJ, you could backspin that shit because we fell in, you know, we what was more dominant than New York shit was Miami bass in New Orleans. So that's why a lot of 808 influence came from me, because we had Miami bass way more than that. But we were like the mecca that had every fucking thing. Everything came our way. East Coast records, West Coast records, all of that. But it was more, I would say a lot of my beats were more Miami bass than you know what I'm saying? Because that's what I was listening to a lot of times. Some of my first songs were Miami bass songs.
Well, who were like some of the early studio sessions, man? Like, who were in those early studio sessions when you're moving from like a bounce type of label into a hip hop?
Bro, when I tell you I'm probably one of the most blessed dudes in the world, some of the dudes I've encountered in my career. So my first sampler, my first SP12 came from this dude, Johnny J. Johnny J did all the Tupac beats. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all, like How Do You Want It, a couple of all, but this was me young. Like, you know what I'm saying? This young, I took a suitcase, went to California, just, you know, taking a chance. Took a like an internship working for a record label. They sent me to the studio, you know, and I wind up meeting some cool dudes. You know what I'm saying? I wind up like meeting Dre and them young, all of that. Really? And these dudes was just like, bro, you're doing this shit hard as fuck. When I wanted to have something like a sample in the song, I would loop it with a turntable. And they was like, bro, there's such thing called a sampler. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta keep doing this shit back to back with 2 records trying to keep it in time. So these dudes brung me to get my first sampler or whatever, right? And showed me how to program on the SP12. The SP12 was like maybe 5 seconds of sample time. Right. The 1200 came after that. The SP12 was the first one. It had like a hard Commodore disk drive. Looked like you had to put a big ass sandwich bread in it to save. That's how big the disk was. So okay, I start out with that and I learned how to do that. Okay, some years later, I'm in the studio. I run into this dude, Steve Hurley. Steve Hurley is like the godfather of house music. He's like, move to Chicago. I'll show you some stuff. I moved to Chicago, you know what I'm saying? I start programming house songs with him, you know. So like my teachers are crazy, like it's crazy situations where I took chances on my career by going like, I'm gonna float around and have all of these valuable people. I come back to New Orleans and the Meters, the dude who actually recorded all of that, Alan Toussaint, he's like a big deal in New Orleans. He's like, hey, come hang out at the studio. Do whatever you want to do at the studio. And there's a session where somebody didn't show up. And he was like, hey, if you want to make a record, this is my first record. He was like, whoever these people were, they didn't show up. So you got the studio the whole day. This is my first record. Like, I'm like, well, shit, I could have the studio. He's like, yeah, you can have the studio the whole day. See what you come up with. So like, it was always being at the right place at the right time and actually studying your craft. And I guess what made it cool for me, I always grew up doing music. I never really did the business part of it. So when Cash Money was growing into this big, crazy, changing the culture thing, I was buried in my drum machine. I wasn't really paying attention to like, this shit is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, because I was really in love with doing music, right. You know, until shit started showing up at the studio. And I'm like, wait, you got a Bentley? You got a fucking Bentley? You know what I'm saying? Damn, you went from a Geneva to a real Rolex? Like, what the fuck going on? You know what I'm saying?
It's funny to hear, like, how many times, like, the starting point, well, not the starting point, but a major point in the timeline is a missed studio session by someone else.
Yeah.
It births someone else's path. You know what I'm saying? But I would have never thought, man, that, and I don't know why, I guess it's me being a little bit of being ignorant, but I would have never thought that you moved around all these different places. But it makes sense in the way you were producing, because you were hearing so many different
Hell
things.
Yeah, dude. So, you know, and I just think, I just got to meet a lot of cool people young. Like, you know what I'm saying? And listen to what they say and watch you know, like the younger producers, their work ethics was so much crazier. Like these dudes did albums. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up under the dudes that did albums. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't do singles. They like, nah, you got to learn how to do everything. You know, and even when we did Cash Money shit, it would be me writing it down on the board, like what the subject was. I'm like, okay, we already did the song about bitches and hoes. Today we on politics. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was seeing somebody do that was like, hey, bro, every song can't be the same song. Today, you know, like we writing a different song. And writing it down on the board and getting Juvie or whatever comfortable with going like, well, I trust the vision of, you know what you're doing. Because if you don't, then every day becomes the same song. You know, if because now, think of what it's driven on. Somebody will say, I need a hit. There's no such fucking thing as a hit. That's all we could do is do a good song and hope everything lined up. I can do my best. Because a really good song could get messed up if the record company don't work it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, this was a great song, but now it's in somebody else's hands. So I think fuck a hit, like it's on relationships. And we took all of that away. Like, you know, like I just remember when we got signed to Universal, we treated it like these people, you know, like our job depend on it and their job depend on it. So they wanted to work hard for you because they was just like, you know what? We know shit, this pays our paycheck. And we felt the same way about them. I know this paid my paycheck. So when it's that kind of mutual respect, people go hard for you. But when you show up in the building and you like, fuck all of y'all, I'm the dude. And everybody's like, well, good luck with that record then.
How did y'all even, you and I guess the was the Williams brothers?
Yeah.
How did y'all even hook up?
Baby.
Well, I knew them from me DJing all over New Orleans. And I had known Baby for a while because, you know, I always DJ for all the street dudes.
Okay.
So one of the dudes that was his partner, like at the time, was always like, man, I get Mannie and da-da, but Mannie know how to do beats as well. And it was like, hey, bro, we doing this record company. And in my first meeting with them, it was kind of real short because it was like, hey, bro, like we doing da-da-da-da. And I was like, man, I can't fuck with that. I'm like, you know, I'm like, dude, my dad is a street dude. And he ain't gonna let that shit happen. I'm like, so I can't fuck with that. So I'm like, if y'all want to do this, we gonna have to do this shit the right way. Like, you know, so it took them a second and they came back and they was just like, all right, bro, we gonna take a chance on it. So, you know, and the rest is kind of like history or whatever, you know, but like I said.
Did you always wanted to be a rapper?
No,
because no. So how did that even change? Like, all right, let's do this rapping together.
It's kind of the same way. It was almost like force. Like all throughout Cash Money shit, you had to adapt. So somebody left and there's nothing there. So it's like, well, what the fuck? You gotta pick that shit up. It's like, bro, we about to start rapping. Like, you know, it's like, what you mean? I'm like, well, you got no fucking rappers. It's us. You know what I'm saying? So everything was always built on that. Like you got big songs that people don't know like what happened. Like, you know, Project Chick, you know, and once I tell y'all the story, you're gonna put it together. So, you know, there's this line on I Need a Hot Girl where Turk comes on and he says, I need a project chick, a hood rat chick, one that don't give a fuck and say she took that dick and she a monkey with it, you know. But whenever we did that song, the crowd would go crazy off of his part. Like, soon as he started doing that line, like, the shit would go crazy. So I was just like, hey, I got it. I'm like, I know what's going to make you a star. I'm like, I'm going to do this song called Project Chick. Because I'm like, that fucking line, for some reason, stands out. Like, so we do the song, and Turk is nowhere to be found.
Wow.
Juvie caught the hook. And Juvie in waiting, him and Wayne arguing over who the fuck gonna catch the hook. Because they knew the importance of, you know what I'm saying? I had to lay the beat and I did the hook, you know, and I was like, bro,
you wrote the hook.
Yeah, because I was like, this is gonna be Turk's greatest fucking moment. Like, I'm like, bro, if you do this song, like, you know what I'm saying, because of I Need a Hot Girl, it was already done. Like, I'm like, the song was done for you.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
All you need to do is
That's all you needed to do is to continue it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that is supposed to be him on the hook of, you know, Project Chick, that song. But because he wasn't, whatever the hell he was doing, Juvie did it, that song became a big hit, and therefore I kind of was like, bro, you missed this moment of what could have jump started something.
Did he ever say why?
No. And it was so many times where like shit had to be emphasized in Cash Money, where it was just like, oh, if you missed this shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? We moving on, dude. Like, you know, and what made the most incredible shit, you see why Wayne is like where Wayne is. Wayne was the first to be there, the last one to go. If some shit wasn't, Wayne's like, I got it. They ain't show up, I got it. I'm there. When we was doing Back That Ass Up, Wayne would not leave till he did that After You back. It was like, I'm getting in this song. Fuck that. Yeah, this is not going down without me getting a part on.
What's funny is like when you say that, it makes total sense because, you know, ad-libs for us are always big. Like just those little pieces, but you know you got something.
Yeah. He was just like, you know what?
That shit right there.
That shit. He was like, nah, I got the end of this. He was like, I'm not, there's no way this song is going down without me getting on this song.
And this is Wayne at how old at this time? Like 16?
Yeah.
And he knew.
Yeah. Damn. You know what I'm saying? Because he seen the shit that I would do. Like, you know, we had a concert, it would be some shit that, so for instance, like Get Your Roll On. We used to say this like in between like one of the songs we would do. And in the crowd, so we had them been to some of these places 3 or 4 times. So the crowd knew the shit. I was like, well, fuck, they know it. We need to just make it a record. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, if every time we go somewhere and they singing the shit before we sing it, I'm like, it's already a record. You know, and you think, like, for instance, like, let's say Trinidad James. Like, I think Trinidad James, when that video on Gold all over when that shit came out, that felt like to me Cash Money again, because that video was unbelievable. Motherfuckers was like, wait, he petting a little pit bull, walking around in slippers and shit, and he in the hood, because we hadn't got away from that shit. Everybody wanted to be rich.
Everything was manufactured.
Yeah, everything was manufactured. That shit was like shock value to us. But the thing that, and I can say this, the thing that they slipped on was nobody knew what his fucking next single was, and it was right in front of his face. Papa Molly, I'm Sweating. When that shit happened, the DJ turned the record down. Everybody went, Papa Molly, I'm Sweating. Woo! I was like, that's your next fucking, that's your hook right there. That shit should have been out Wednesday. You see what I'm saying? And that's kind of like how a lot of Cash Money shit happened. We paid attention to what the crowd would react to. And we was like, oh, that's the next song right there. But but as an artist, if you said it and you missed it, somebody else caught it.
It sounded like everybody played their position very well.
Yeah.
You know, music, business, artists, and stuff like that. Something that stood out to me, though, is that, you know how you be in studio sessions and sometimes you'll talk to different producers. Anybody, yo, I had a chance to sound this person, I had a chance to sign that person. Sometimes that person might have went to Bad Boy, this person might have went to Def Jam or whatever. Like, was that ever a situation in New Orleans? Because obviously Cash Money and No Limit, some of the biggest things that come out of, you know, out of that town.
The weird thing about that was me and KLC, who was like one of No Limit's biggest producers, right? We grew up DJing in the club. So it was, we already had a relationship. Like pretty much all the artists had relationships already, but it was just so competitive. It was like, pick a side. You with them or are you with us? But to the world, it looked like, oh shit, they beefing like, but all of us kind of came out of like, you know, the same shit. Like, you know, we all grew up together, you know, like even Mac, you know, the dude Mac was with me when he was fucking 10. You know, if you look, I Need Wheels, that was his first video, you know, so he grew up with us like as a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like, but you know, he wound up going with No Limit. So it wasn't no big deal or whatever, but as artists, everybody in New Orleans pretty much knew each other because we either worked in the club together or DJ'd together or some shit like that. But then it became competitive because you got two powerhouses, you know, going like, well, shit, both of them out of New Orleans. Like, you know what I'm saying?
From the outside looking in, though, it always seemed like No Limit had 30 people, but you always had your core 6.
Yeah.
And it always seemed like Cash Money focused on that core 6.
Hell yeah. You know, we was, you know, by me being old school, everything about us ran like Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you think of the Hot Boys, it hadn't been done in a long time where I'm like, hey, you take 4 dudes and y'all come in and out. Some of y'all know some of y'all parts together, but it's gonna be real swift. I'm like, we're not gonna do that old school thing where you gotta wait 12 bars and then you come back in and then I'm like, some of these songs, y'all gotta write them together. Like you gotta do a part, he gotta do a part, he gotta do a part, and that's gonna make the verse. So you know what I'm saying? And people have forgot about that kind of shit. So I was just like, hey bro, let's do this kind of, base it off like old school, the way rap went. So a lot of it was, like I said, it was me going like, let's base this off some old school shit. And I kind of based the Hot Boys off of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5.
Now that you say that, I wonder if that's the reason why people were so drawn to the locks. Because, you know, Styles.
What Styles and Jada, right?
Yeah. Same thing with Jada. Like, they go in and out, in and out.
Because I was like, man, like, we forgot about that shit. I'm like, let's bring that back. And especially a group from the South. Like, you know, and I'm like, a lot of people wouldn't be expecting that from a group from the South. Like, you know, it would be like, well, I know they're going to say some shit about big booties and the next dude going to rap. And I was just like, well, dude, what if y'all do it from a perspective of like y'all come in and out and then on some of the parts y'all all say it together and shit. Right. You know, and it was almost like training, but they got the shit and they was just like, oh shit, like this shit is cool. So and I also said, but if it jumps off, now we gonna start chipping away, making y'all all stars one at a time. Like I'm like let's create the Hot Boys, but then let's give everybody their own identity. You know, and that shit worked. You know what I'm saying? Because it gave Juvie a nice run, it gave BG a nice run, and it turned Wayne into a fucking megastar.
Did y'all ever expect that?
Yeah, you know, I went into it
out of the 4.
I really wanted all 4 of them, but you know, Turk got in trouble. You know what I'm saying? And he'll even tell you that. It was like, I'm like, bro, like you might not see this vision, but if you keep getting in trouble, you fucking yourself up. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then everybody had something different that they brung to it. Right. You know, people looked at Turk like the little black chocolate cool dude. You know what I'm saying? People looked at BG as the streets. They looked at Juvie as, oh, he the lyricist. Wayne was like, you know, he was infatuated with Missy and sound effects, and he didn't curse. So it was amazing to people who was like, wait, as strong as he just came off, he did. I was like, yeah, the dude didn't say one curse word.
A lot of people never even noticed.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that was that was part of his deal. His mom was like, long as he don't curse, you know what I'm saying? And he could get a voice. And I was like, bro, this is incredible that you could get a verse across without, you know what I'm saying, and stand next to these dudes, and some of your shit is harder than they shit.
Wow. What would be your favorite Cash Money album?
I don't have a favorite, bro. I really don't. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even if I thought about it, I couldn't say I have a favorite.
We all gotta have. My favorite is Big Tymers. First one. I don't know if it's Volume 1 or Volume 2. But Volume 2 was basically the same, right?
Let me say why I kind of really do like Volume 1 on Big Tymers, because it was so experimental.
Okay.
It was so experimental because it left motherfuckers going, what the fuck just happened? They just talking cash shit. Like, they was just like,
tear it up.
They was like, these motherfuckers,
tear it up, man.
You know, and at that time, you know, it was weird because Baby couldn't catch a rhythm for nothing. Like, but it was still genius because there was like, and then we made up terms to fucking combat that shit. We was like, you know what? We game spitters. We not rappers. So if you're looking for rap, this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? But the shit we saying, you gonna like. So we and it came across, and that gave like motherfuckers like, yeah, motherfuckers really game spitters. They ain't tripping on if this motherfucker didn't rhyme, but he did, you know, because Baby would say shit, and all of us would be like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And it's like, you know what? Somebody like, well, let it. All right, fuck it, let it go.
In those first albums, I saw Bun B was on there too. How did y'all even hook up with Bun B?
Bun actually was supposed to be in the Big Tymers. You know, and a lot of people don't know that, but I think for reasons that it kind of conflicted, because you got to think about how weird the dynamics of the South was. Pimp was doing stuff with No Limit.
Yeah.
Bun was doing stuff with us. So I think it would have made a riffle in their group if any of them would have joined, You know what I'm saying?
Or officially joined outside of a feature.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So, but Bun always just fuck whatever we wanted. You know what I'm saying? And to this day, our relationship is still like that. You know, Bun is like, shit, if whatever you doing, I'm on it. You know, and I swear, like some of the verses that Bun put down on some of the Cash Money shit is like, oh my God. You know, I used to be like, how you gonna keep up with that shit? I'm like, he just said some incredible shit and his flows and you know, like you saying that first one.
Yeah,
like,
he did good. Yeah,
I was like, God damn, Bun.
Shout out to OG Bun B.
Yeah.
Moving forward, then how did Jay-Z get on the remix of Ha?
That's even crazy. I don't even know, bro. I honestly don't.
But wait, wasn't that like
He
a
jumped
white
on that
label
shit.
type of thing? Like he was just like,
No, I think it came out.
No,
it was on the album.
It came out. And it was just getting so much momentum, right? Now this is the another thing that nobody knew. So one of the things in Cash Money was nobody listened to nothing outside of Cash Money. So the only persons who would have known Jay-Z was me and Juvie. Because, you know, we was kind of like hip hop heads. But nobody listened to nothing. Because, you know, Baby and Slim felt like it was going to fuck up Cash Money and, you know, and what we was doing. So they didn't want nothing to be influenced by nothing. So I'm more than sure out of sight, Wayne and might have listened to that shit, but we was always together so much, you couldn't listen to nothing else but Cash Money. So if you got, that was like a flag on the play, like you listening to what? The fuck is that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Turn that shit off. Like, you know what I'm saying? So the crazy thing was, Han was getting so much momentum to it was just like, okay, then we get the shit back that Jay jumped on it. And it was weird because half of the room was like, who the fuck is Jay-Z? And me and Juvie like, fucking Jay-Z just jumped on her. Like, y'all, this is it. We was like, it's official. You know what I'm saying? And you got some dudes going, who the fuck is Jay-Z? And he's just like, I'm like, bro, this shit is crazy. I'm like, because these dudes really don't have no influence. Right. And if you notice, there was never no features outside of like Bun on any Cash Money records. We never had nobody, like, you know what I'm saying? Jay jumped on that song. He did that on his own.
He did that on his own.
Yeah, he did that on his own.
He did that on his own.
Because he saw the future of where this shit was going.
There was a point where I remember the song was getting played. It was big. Like, everybody was on high up here in New York City.
Yeah.
Tri-state, Northeast, period, right? But everybody was waiting for a video.
Yeah.
Like we would have saw with, you know, High the Original, like all these different things. It never happened.
Yeah.
Did the camp ever feel a way about that video never coming out with Jay-Z for the High remix?
Well, it still was, it divided the room, even though he did it. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to think about it. Me and Juvie had to fight for that. Me and Juvie had to fight to let that stay that way because, you know, you got Baby and them as a label going, we don't want no influence from nobody else. We appreciate it, but we don't want it. You know what I'm saying? So we just like, listen, bro, fuck that. We like, dude, he got to stay on this song.
Even though,
we was like,
even though people could say like, yo, there was a big influence. I'm pretty sure the numbers were coming in, and you're seeing the spins that are going up, going crazy and stuff. Still, Baby and Summer probably.
No, because they was just like, you know what? We don't want no influence from nobody because they felt like it was gonna dilute what Cash Money was. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you gotta think about it. This is what happens a lot of times. Baby and Slim were masterminds of how to market this, how to do it, but they wasn't really music dudes. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times you have, you know, like, how many times have you seen it where it's like a CEO, you know, and he start making shit where he makes decisions where you just like, bro.
Those are the hedge fund bros.
I need you to just CEO. That's what I need you to do. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You stay over there, let us be creative.
Yeah.
Be a perfect match.
You know what I'm saying? And this will be a perfect match. Yeah. You know, and luckily, like I said, me and Juvie championed for it, and he let it ride. But, you know, it was one of them things where really, you know, I knew we wasn't going to get no video out of it because it was just like, it was one of them things where every day it was like, man, do we really need this? Do we really? And we like, bro, look at the fucking numbers. Like, they don't lie. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about when 400 Degrees got killed for Project English for another album. Me and Juvie both was like, it's not done yet. You know what I'm saying? But that was they move. We was like, hey, bro, this album's still going. Like we still haven't shot a video for 400 Degrees itself. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, it couldn't do no wrong. Every song on the album people loved. And we was just like, bro, we got at least 3 more singles on here. You know, and it was just like, nah, it's time.
6 months.
Yeah, they was like, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. And I remember I convinced them to let me add a new song to it, which was Follow Me Now. Like that, boom, 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 boom. Soon as we did that, it went 3 more million. So I was just like, bro, what the fuck? And I'm like, just let this ride. Yeah. Hey.
How did the Rough Rider Cash Money tour happen?
That was D-Nim, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, because there was just like, listen, bro.
D.Y. Siobhan, what's up?
Yeah,
love.
there was just like, and believe it or not, that shit happened in the back alley.
I believe it.
In the back fucking alley in Miami.
1,000%.
You know what I'm saying?
I believe it 1,000%.
And listen, nigga, this just like as trill as I could get. And, you know, and this is our brother from another mother forever. So it's me, Baby Slim, DMX, and somebody else. And DMX is smoking a fucking geek. A geek is like weed with coke in it, right?
Yeah,
And he's like, hey, son, I think we need to fucking do this. You know, you fucking guys, yo, you want to hit this? And I was like, I don't fuck around. You know what I'm saying? And it was one of the moments where you like, what the fuck just happened? You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, we gonna do it. And I'm like, bro, and you know, and I was like, honestly, I'm like, this the kind of dudes who we need to do this shit with. Cause they were straight up on, and you saw they movement, you know, and I was just like, bro, this is beautiful because it's so different. It's, you know, like every night was so fucking different, and what made it so incredible, we had to change so many times wherever we was. Like they would be like, hey, the Locks got to close this bitch up. If we was down south, they like, Cash Money got to close this motherfucker out, and we got along so perfectly, and it brung, you know, it brung fucking brothers out of that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was saying. That's what grew our relationship, like far as New Orleans with the Locks. Like, you know what I'm saying? And with Eve and everybody who was on the Rough Riders. You know, and at that time, me and Swiss was the hottest dudes that you could possibly get.
That's
like, you know what I'm saying? So, and your 2 producers and / DJs are on the road with you. So yeah, we had a ball doing that, bro. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Story,
talking about production, I'm bouncing around a little bit. So, I remember Drake had came out with like those 2 bounce records, right, from Black and Mild. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Right. Do you encourage that then and now, like people jacking the bounce style?
I mean, I got publishing off of those songs.
Okay.
So,
well, how did you get publishing? If that's like a show, that's the show boys, right?
No. So the patterns are my patterns. The way they was, the way the song was produced.
Like,
from
Black
you know
and
what I'm
Mild.
saying? Yeah. Some of the patterns was, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like, yeah, like it was influenced from Mannie. So, you know what I'm saying? And I give big ups to Drake, you know what I'm saying, for recognizing that he was like, this is not just a style. This dude created this shit. So, you know what I'm saying? So he did reach out and was like, hey, I'm going to give you publishing off of these records because it's your fucking thing. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a difference when you come somewhere and you just like, okay, I'm just going to take your shit and I ain't going to give you shit because you didn't make the song. It didn't matter that I didn't make the song. It was an art form that, you know, I came up with.
So can you unconfuse me, right? Because I'm me as a DJ, I'm thinking it was Showboys and it's another
Brown Beat.
Okay, yeah. So, all right, see, so now those are the guys that you know the actual sample is from. But then how do you come in? Whereas it's already been done.
Those sounds was broke down. I sampled those sounds. The snare. There's a different. So the snare from Brown Beat is one of the elements. You know what I'm saying? The kick from that. Now what I started doing was I'm like, okay, I'm gonna turn these bitches into my own thing by saying I'm going to dissect this song and take the sounds out of it.
Okay.
So basically, I took the sounds out. What was the first popular thing was there was this beat called a Cheeky Black beat. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's got the hand claps. I don't know if you know the dude, DJ Jubilee, that that's like one of the biggest. That is my beat. You know what I'm saying? So everybody used that beat. Everybody, so it was like an instrumental beat that I did like in a fucking club. And it just kind of like how shit happens in hip hop. It started floating around everywhere. And you know what I'm saying? And in that beat, there's some hits, there's some claps that it started off with exactly like his. He just used the instrumental and did his whole song off of it. But I merged the Brown beat and Trigger Man together, which, okay, up into that, it was always somebody doing it as a break beat. Nobody really said we gonna start making records out of this shit. Okay, so I'm like, okay, now it's overkill. I'm like, every fucking song in New Orleans got this shit in it. From a slow song to a church song
like
to the same fucking beat. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm aggravated with this beat. You know what I'm saying? I get it. It's mine. Enough is enough. So I was like, the way I could get around this is change the patterns. So what if I take the snare from this, the kick from this, and I make it my own pattern? So that's what kind of made it completely different, where I could get away with it, opposed to like, I got to clear this shit over and over again. But I'm like, nah, I'm going to take elements of how hip hop works. I'll take elements of these songs and I'll make my own shit. So basically, when you hear that song, that's the elements of it, the songs that are Drake songs. They're not, it's not actually the Trigger Man, but it's the drum sounds from that.
From it, okay. So I was gonna ask him in my mind what you call it, right?
Yeah, sometimes when you get old.
Yeah, no, you get old. You get old. You get old, right?
But I will say this, man. Like when it comes to like even when we talk about Wayne, and you seen that very early on. You've instilled stuff in Wayne that I'm sure Wayne instilled in Drake. As he was building Young Money. Sitting back, we just saw that Drake just dropped a whole bunch of content that's out there. I'm sure certain people are pretty happy about that. But you know, from the beginning, what was your first impression of Drake when you first had a chance?
I mean, I could kind of, as a DJ, and I'm going to show you notice, I could pick a hit when I hear it. Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? It could be 7 records, and I'm like, that's the one that stand a chance. If you're a good DJ, you know that's the one that stand a chance. Like, you know what I'm saying? My first song was that Baby You're My Everything, you know what I'm saying? And just hearing that, I was just like, okay, this could go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And then that wasn't the one that to me was like, okay, but as it got bigger and bigger and the songs I'm like, okay, this dude really, he got a good ear, but I know when Wayne left Cash Money, not left Cash Money, when I left Cash Money, Wayne was paying attention to how I program drums and the shit that I do. And I know he knew how to pick good beats. So a lot of shit was Wayne picking good beats. You like, hey, this Drake, this right here. You know what I'm saying? And right there, that could turn into shit. That's all you really need if you got a good formula.
I remember 2008, and obviously this is around Katrina, so I was in Atlanta. I remember there was a lot of people from New Orleans who were coming into Atlanta, living. And there was all these kids talking about, hey, you gotta hear this kid Drake, you gotta hear this Drake.
Yeah.
One of the first songs I remember hearing was Successful.
Yeah.
And, granted at the time, this is more of the emo Drake. Everything is slowed down.
Yeah.
Getting your thoughts out and sharing and, being emotional. And I remember hearing the song. It's the first time I ever heard someone on a record that was brand new, in my head, was standing toe to toe with Wayne.
Yeah.
It was the first time I've ever heard that. I've heard Wayne
he blows them away.
Everybody, right?
Yeah.
And it stood out to me to the point where I was like, who is this kid? Who is this kid? And obviously, now we're here.
But then, Superstar. one of the things that we hadn't heard yet either too, we didn't know rappers could actually hold notes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I didn't know it was going to be
sonically,
so
his shit was fucking. You was just like, wait, he actually sang some shit, and the shit is in key, and and everything. Then he goes to a rap tone, and then so it was a breath of fresh air for a while. You just like, holy shit, like you just like this dude could really actually sing this shit, and it makes sense. Like and every time he came with another song, it was better and better. And you get to the point where you're like, okay, he knows what he's doing. But I know just from when me and Wayne talking one-on-one, he's like, bro, I paid attention to a lot of shit. And I knew when you was gone, I had to go find good fucking beats. He was like, I had to go through a lot of shit, a lot of nights where I'm like, that ain't it, that ain't it, that ain't it. He's like, somebody saying, well, you looking for Mannie. He was like, fuck, I'm not looking for Mannie, but I know this shit better be He was like, I was raised on
standard.
I was raised on a standard. So I think when Drake got to him, he was like you said, he was like, bro, it's a standard. It's a standard and it's got to stay here. It can't never leave below this. You can't have a bad day. From here on out, there's no fucking bad days. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what makes a lot of people, you know, great stars. It's like somebody saying right now, what I would hate to do, like, you know, somebody saying, well, why don't you do beats or whatever? And I'm like, I don't want to fuck up my legacy. I'm like, I think people love what I've done. But if I got to do it with somebody where they don't think like I think, it's not a good song to me. It's hard as fuck to say, okay, let's just do this. And all of us done some shit for money. I thank God I got away with it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know all my brown paper bag. You know what I'm saying? My shit I had to do with Lil Lucky. You know what I'm saying? Like Lil Lucky them got the money. Fuck, come on, fuck. You know what I'm saying? But I would not want to do that shit because it's awful sometimes when you just like, it seems like you're trying too hard. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm used to, I need that shit to be, you know, above average. If you want me to come out and plug this fucking drum machine.
I mean, there's a lot of responsibility with a producer. Yeah. A real producer. Not just somebody that's like that. It's like when you have the vision, there's a lot of responsibility with the producer. We recently celebrated 50 years of hip hop. Yeah. There was a big celebration that was in Yankee Stadium. I had the chance to see some amazing artists. Ice Cube was one of them. First time I've ever seen him perform.
You want me to ask him, man?
I would, huh?
You don't want me to ask him?
No, I don't want you to ask him. Also being able to see Wayne up there, but something else that I knew that was coming down that line, that pipeline, was 30 years of Cash Money, and that's something that, you know, you've been giving your flowers, the whole crew. And you were able to do it at home, at Essence. Man. Yeah. What was that like? Because I missed it. I'm pissed I missed it. But I'm assuming
I mean,
on TV.
Honestly, let me tell you.
I'm sorry, Manny. For stuff like that, I need to be there. I don't know. I don't know how the room is. I want to be there because I want to feel the energy. Seeing it on TV,
you got to come back to that
anytime.
Yeah. Okay. So the weird part of this shit is this. I wish we would have did it before that. Because
before the 50th
before all 30. Of that, because it's kind of like you got a couple of seconds to prepare for something that we need to sharpen up on, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like, bro, why do this shit like when it's always and I feel this way about a lot of rap groups, not just Cash Money, but let's not do this shit when it's something like 50 years or 30 years or whatever. Let's fix that shit, then go do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So the one regret I have, we rehearsed this shit and a lot of the shit didn't go the way it should have went because we hadn't done this shit in a long time. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, we should have done this shit way before this. You know what I'm saying? It was great to do this again, but it's also great to air out shit. You know what I'm saying? To say like, hey, bro, we need to talk as fucking men. I don't. Yeah, let's air shit out. Yeah, exactly.
How you feel about the Turk and BG?
I think is real shit. I think is silly as fuck. I'm just gonna be 100 with y'all. Mm-hmm. You know, I love them both as brothers, and I'm like, bro, this is it. You know, and this is the God's honest truth. We don't get too many turns like to do what the fuck we doing right now. Mm-hmm. To say this is 30 years and people are still checking for this. So the way I like to describe it, this is the fourth quarter, 2 minutes, and you down by 30. Mm-hmm. You better get your shit together, dude, because this might not happen again. Nobody ain't gonna wait for this next year. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? The time is now, you know, and I'm speaking to them as big brother. Fuck the OG shit, you know what I'm saying? Bro, I don't even know what y'all beefing over. Y'all don't know what y'all beefing over. This is it. You know, this is and it's been a lot of mistakes in how we did this, you know, and it's been aired out and the world know it. So, and I'm like, if we gonna truly forgive each other. But if you want to leave this lucrative, this is your last chance. This is your last chance. And I feel like if they get this together, y'all know this, bro. You could go tour right now. And everything that you didn't get, you can make it up right now. And if you smart, take that and live your life slow. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's my advice to them all day, every day. I'm like, listen, bro, it's dumb. It is the dumbest shit in the world.
Between the touring, merch, collectors, just the fan base, man. Like you definitely could go ahead and do this over and over again.
Do you feel that there's someone that could talk sense to both of them? Is it you? Is it anybody?
I really thought, I would say me and Juve have said this shit over and over to them. Like I really thought we was there. Like, you know what I'm saying? The thing is this. I feel like them being late bloomers, and I hope this get received well. Get the fuck off the internet. It's not y'all place. It's not for y'all. We wasn't built on that. We're not an internet group. We're not internet people. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That is not what builds our fan base. And if you gonna be on there, use that shit to make money. Don't use that shit to air out your business. That's not what we didn't. Nobody in this room came up from that era where I'm gonna tell you all my goddamn business. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No matter how you look at it, you think it's all your business. It's only half.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you need two people to have a conversation. Yeah. And then you have to come to some type of agreement, some type of understanding.
How do you feel about Wayne not joining y'all on the stage that day?
That was going to happen. It was just too much chaos.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Do you respect his decision?
Yeah, I respect his decision. Okay. I really do. Because I can't count nobody else's pockets. But that was going to happen. It was just like I said. It was a lot of shit that it was like, come on, man, air this shit out and let's fix it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you got to look at it. Now, after this, you know, we looked at it as a group. We was like, man, what the fuck are we doing? You know what I'm saying? And everybody agreed. So it's like, yeah, we got a couple of more shots at this to do it the right way. And I'm like, bro, we gonna do this. Let's do it the right way. If not, let me finish DJing and whatever I'm doing, bro, because God has been good to me. Man,
and I see that you're taking the DJing very seriously.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
As more than production.
He always has.
No, I'm just saying the more than the production though, right? But it was a point in time you was doing the production more than DJ.
Yeah, you know
now
what I'm
saying? Just flip.
But I mean, DJing is very lucrative, bro.
Do you feel like DJs are valued more now than before?
Nah, not really. But let me tell you what I love right now. My era of music works. Like, you know what I'm saying? It works. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's why I'm booked. I'm in my sweet spot where I don't have to play new music. I don't have to. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I that's one of my things. And there's no disrespect to nobody new or whatever. But I'm like, prove it to me. You know what I'm saying? Make some songs that I'm going to play at a wedding reception 2 or 3 years from now. Then I got you. But I don't, you know, and that's just the challenge. And that shouldn't be like, fuck him, because I'm saying that. And I'm like, because I want you as a hip hop artist to show me longevity. Show me that you can make some songs that's going to be around. Like, you know what I'm saying? Other than that, tomato ass nigga ketchup.
you know what's, like you said, what did y'all say? We weren't rappers. You said we
Game spitters.
I look at this, man, just going back to the 30th anniversary in the show. I think about how teams, whether it be the Pelicans and the Smoothie King or, you know, the Saints playing in the Dome, man, like you get a chance to look at your tape.
Yeah.
And you get to see what the performance was like.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming, just off of what you said, there is still a shot that we'll be able to see all
that's what I
six
said.
members on this stage.
Reevaluated it as a group. Which I was glad, like, you know what I'm saying? We
Was it together?
Yeah.
Everyone together?
Yeah.
All
you know, to say like, hey, bro, listen. If we gonna do this, bro, take it serious. If y'all don't want to do this, bro, you know, like let's go back to whatever it is. If you cut grass, cut grass. If I'm DJing, let me DJ. Like, but we can't play with this. I don't want to play with this shit. This shit is real. I'm like, this shit changed people's lives. People grew up on us, and you know, and music is a feeling. You remember what you was doing that day. You remember what, it takes you to a place where, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, if you don't feel that way about this shit, then maybe you shouldn't do it. Like, you know, but it's also what I said. You're not going to get too many opportunities. You know, think about it. When we celebrated 50 years of hip hop, you had motherfuckers like Busy B and, you know, like these dudes was like, I never made this much fucking money. Why can't we celebrate 51 years of hip hop? You know what I'm saying? Cold Crush and all of these people was there going like, we getting paid. That's all we gonna give. That's all we gonna get is 1 year. The folks really feel like, fuck, let's do this every year.
We always hear about the chitlin circuit. Whether if you're going through the Southeast, they have different circuits all over the country. But for the 50th anniversary, it's like it went pop.
Yeah, it went
mainstream.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about the 50-year anniversary of hip hop, it actually shined the light on what a good show looks like.
Right.
You had a lot of people who was like,
oh my God,
you know what? I give up on these motherfuckers. I'm gonna go with the old school concert. You know what I'm saying? Because these dudes,
they don't take it serious.
Yeah.
But and I just want to say this. I just want to push back for a little bit. No disrespect to the guy, Nas. I remember seeing Nas at Stony Brook at my university. And I remember it was him, and it was like 30 people on stage with him. I didn't even hear what Nas was saying.
Yeah.
Right? But over the years, you hope that these artists, whether you're new, that eventually you progress and you take your stage show very seriously. Some are a little bit more serious earlier than others, but hopefully all you new artists that are out there take it seriously, because that's what's going to provide the longevity.
How do you feel about artists rapping over their lyrics?
I mean, learn your damn song.
At a show. Okay.
I mean, if you have to rap over your lyric and that's the only way you know the song, cool, but at least know the song.
Okay.
It's songs, it's places where, I've done some shit like that and I'm just like, you don't even know the goddamn song. Like, you wrote this song and you don't know it.
Hey, man,
you know what I'm saying?
They wrote that song.
Yeah, you supposedly wrote this song and you don't know it. You know what I'm saying? And it's weird that somebody that is a fan know it word for word, and you get paid for it, and you don't know it. You don't, and you didn't took the time out. And you got to think about how interviews go right now. What people will say, like and we're not kicking them out. When somebody do an interview and they say some shit like, "Well, you know what? I don't really rap. This not my shit. I don't really fuck with this." I can tell. You know what I'm saying? So why you here? You taking up space for somebody who really want to do this shit. I think like we got to have some kind of standards to be like, well, if you don't, come on, man, move along.
Move out the way.
Move out the way, bro. And let somebody who really want to do this shit, do this shit.
Are there any artists that are standing out to you right now? New artists?
New artists? Bro, believe it or not, I don't really listen to nothing new. And it's not because I don't believe in nothing new. I just don't listen to nothing new because I just haven't had nothing, like you said, that made me feel like I want to invest in it. The newest to me would be Kendrick, J. Cole, and Drake.
Wow. You
know what I'm saying? And they're not really new, but it just feel like better music to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's some shit where I could, if you consider some of J. Cole's older shit, like, you know what I'm saying? But but this shit's still jamming. Like, you know what I'm saying? You still, lights please, turn off the lights, you like, damn, this was a thoughtful song. You put some thought into this motherfucker.
I tell people all the time, J. Cole is somebody, if you ever go to a J. Cole show, take your eyes off the stage and look around the stadium. You can see all the people who grew with J. Cole over the years.
Yeah.
You can see it. It's all different ages, different ethnicities, different people, all kinds of walks of life. But they grew with him. And
now you're a J. Cole fan.
I fucked with J. Cole.
I'm fucking with you. Now, before I close out, you got a show going down.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Brooklyn Bowl.
It's time to promote.
Yeah, me and Juve is going down. Me and Juve, Brooklyn Bowl is going down Friday. And after that, DC the next day. So if you can make it, catch a train, plane, automobile, and so on. You heard me, groupies welcome.
What days is it? What days?
Friday, what is that, the 9th? August 9th. August 10th, DC. And after DC, I don't know after shit. I'll post it on my page if you follow me, DJ Mannie Fresh.
So y'all just decided to do it together?
Yeah, yeah. Me and Juve been on the road ever since Tiny Desk. Yeah. Okay. So I'm saying this to everybody else that's affiliated with us. If y'all ain't gonna get this money, me and Juve gonna get this money. You heard me?
Before we get out of here, I do want to say this to you, brother. New Orleans is a beautiful city. I was just talking to my man Smitty the other day. He was out there. It's one of those cities that are real. It's a beautiful city, but if you want to fuck around, you'll find out, right?
Yeah.
But I want to say thank you, because whether you know it or not, I've been in your city many a times. You've always been very gracious. Yourself, I want to say rest in peace to DJ Watt.
Yes, sir.
This guy would pick me up from the fucking airport, show me around, take me to Drago's, wherever I want to go. And then, we go party. I'm gonna be on the wheels and still, and so is Mannie Fresh. So I want to say thank you.
Well, I gotta
for
say
y'all.
rest in peace to
bro.
Fifth Ward Webby too. That was
Yeah,
my guy.
dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And Nikki Robinson. Shout out to her
Nikki
as well.
Black.
Well, thank you for coming through, man.
Yeah, dude.
I
Thank
appreciate
y'all,
it,
bro.
man.
Thank y'all, bro.
Respect, man.
For sure.